So many people are terrified of getting in front of the camera. I usually tell them, don't let that little piece of metal and plastic stop you from sharing your message, but I know it's a little more complicated than that. So let's get into how you can be more confident in front of a camera. My name is Marley Jaxx, CEO of Jaxx Productions, and I have helped thousands of entrepreneurs become more camera confident and turn that confidence into more revenue for their business. Maybe you're an entrepreneur trying to get more comfortable in front of the camera to grow your business. Maybe you're an entertainer trying to become more charismatic for your audience. Maybe you're just trying to get more comfortable for family photos. Let's talk about why you're actually scared of getting in front of the camera. And hint, it has nothing to do with the camera. Then I want to share with you the strategies that I use with my clients to get them in the right mindset for filming, and how even the most camera-shy person can become a natural. And lastly, I'm going to share with you a story that I like to call Norma Jean to Marilyn. And I think it's going to help you immensely next time you have to get on camera. Let's first talk about the psychology behind your fear of the camera. When people come to me and they say they're afraid of the camera, I tell them, you're not afraid of that piece of metal and plastic. Let's be real about where the fear is coming from. The fear is usually attached to a fear of judgment, a fear of failure, or a fear of stepping out of your comfort zone. I get it, stepping out of your comfort zone is, well, exactly what it says, uncomfortable. But I also like to think that staying in obscurity or stagnation is also pretty uncomfortable. So let's talk about some strategies to get you comfortable in front of the camera, because you probably already know the pros and the cons, the consequences and the benefits of getting in front of the camera or deciding to stay in the shadows. Now, before we get into how you can conquer your fear of the camera, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. The first thing that I recommend for every one of my clients to do while getting in front of the camera is to remember that the camera, it's a piece of metal and plastic, but I don't want you to look at it as this inanimate object. I want you to create a person in your mind. Maybe this is someone you already know and love, someone that you know loves you, or maybe you create that ideal person. Maybe it's one of your customers. Maybe it's your favorite member of your audience. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's your best friend. Someone that you can imagine looking at you, beaming, proud of you, on the edge of their seat, excited to hear everything that you have to say. And when you speak to that camera, imagine them on the other side of it. If you have in your mind that this is intimidating, that you have no idea who this is reaching or who this is helping, of course that's overwhelming. But when you have that person in mind that you know is so excited to hear this, and you know how it's going to transform their life, that's the state of mind I want you to be in. Because if you know how you can help just one person, how you can maybe motivate or inspire or give the information that they need that's going to transform the way that they live or help them in their health or their wealth and relationships, doesn't that make it so worth it? Doesn't that make it seem like it's your moral obligation to share this content no matter what fears might come up? The next thing that's going to help after you pick that person that you have in mind that you're speaking to through the camera is to get into state. One of the ways that I like to get into state is I kind of have this visual of like a light switch turning on and the energy flowing through me. Because it's almost like, you know, when you hear someone say the camera adds 10 pounds, the camera can also reduce enthusiasm. When I worked in radio, I would record radio commercials, and I thought it was so silly when I would get in the sound booth and I would read the script and they would tell me to over enunciate and be overly enthusiastic, and I thought that I was like acting crazy. But it turned out when I actually heard the voiceover played back to me, it sounded normal. Whereas if I had just spoken like I normally did, like if I talked like this to the camera and I was sharing this information with you like this is kind of my normal voice as if I was talking. But when I'm in performance mode, you see how I kind of changed my body language, and I know exactly who I'm speaking to and why I'm so excited to share this information with you, because I know that this is going to change your life. So whatever you have to do to get into state, if it's a visualization of that light switch turning on, if it's turning on some awesome music, maybe you create a playlist for yourself. You put some Beyonce on there, you put some Shakira, whatever you need that's going to amp you up before you turn on that camera. Speaking of Beyonce, do you know that she has a pre-performance ritual that gets her into state too? And one of the parts of her ritual is she has an alter ego name. You recognize the name Sasha Fierce? Well, that's the name that Beyonce gives herself before she steps on stage and becomes that fierce female personality that we all know and love. So maybe there might be an alter ego that you give for yourself, that every time you turn on that camera, you step into that energy and become that person. Now, I'm not telling you to fake it till you make it, because I don't believe in that. But what I do want to encourage you to do is to take all of those characteristics, those personality attributes that we all know and love about you, and make that louder. Be you louder. Now, lastly, I want to wrap this up with a story that might help you to visualize what this could feel like for you. Now, this is a true story. We all know Marilyn Monroe, the female icon, the Hollywood icon. She used to go out into public and she could decide if she wanted to be regular, everyday Norma Jean, or if she wanted to be the glamorous Marilyn. So she would go into the public, she could be in the middle of Grand Central Station, tons of people all over, and she would go unnoticed. And she did this little experiment. She'd say to her photographer, "Do you want to see her?" And with a change in her energy, her body language, maybe a little fluff of her hair, she becomes Marilyn. And moments later becomes engulfed by fans who earlier didn't even recognize her. What changed? Other than her energy, her body language, all she had to do was decide. That's what I'm telling you to do today. To know the people you're going to inspire and the passion that you're stepping into, knowing that this information, that your energy that you share with the world is going to make a big difference. I hope I've given you the confidence boost that you need to share your message, get in front of that camera, and change the world. Now I'd also love to help you to create content that converts. I've actually created a free training for you. It's called How to Create 6 Months of Cash Flowing Content in 3 Days. Click the link below and you can get that today.